Hey guys, it's White Manga here, and today we're going to be learning how to draw faces better, more organic, more realistic, keeping it fresh, understanding the structure, and just studying faces and heads with what I feel are some of the best tips for beginners. Good guides are to start with a sphere and kind of build from that. Each artist kind of has their own way of doing things. Well, with me, I start with that sphere. Sometimes I elongate the top, and then I do like a little oval at the bottom to set up the jaw. You then have these guidelines that split that initial sphere in half in 4 parts. And then I kind of build from there. I have another line that comes here. It lets me know where that one part of the eye is going to go, the other part of the eye, the ear on this side, it's not going to be higher than this line over here. And then where it falls is just somewhere here. You can kind of figure it out based off of your style. You see some instances where maybe your art style does something ridiculous with the ear, or it's, people have different ears. You can go look for reference and figure out what it is you want to do. But knowing the basics, especially with the head straight on, is a good start. Then the nose going to be here, like so, little triangle, and then the mouth kind of goes somewhere around there. So this is like the basics, and then you kind of build everything from here. Build out the say I wanted to add the bridge of the nose with a line right here. It goes here. Nostril, nostril. Depending on your art style for the eyes, you pick a shape. You kind of make it organic in some kind of way. Then you have the eyebrow and the mouth. Again, all of this is depending on your style and how you put things together. But even if we're going with a realistic approach, this is not too far off, right? Figure out what the hairline is going to be, and then you add hair. That's a very basic way of just going through everything. You add the neck. The thicker the neck, the more muscular the character looks. Sometimes if you're ridiculously muscular, you might want to add certain things to add certain lines and features to their face just so it fits better. Maybe a squarer or a rounder, less pointy jaw over here. And that's kind of how you just keep doing things. Once you kind of know those basics, I have a separate video that focuses a whole lot more on how to draw the face for beginners. While this is also for beginners, in this video we'll take it a step further with different angles, right? I've seen people do like a box, right? They have a box, and it's easy to think of a box and figuring that out first, knowing how you want the head to be positioned, the way you want it to face, and then building the rest of the head based off of all you know from here and applying it here. Right? If this is, maybe draw the inside so you see it a little better, so you have the head. Draw that circle, it'll be a little bit at the top, right? Have a line that goes across, the other line that goes across, the line that's splitting in half, the jaw. We have a circle on the side, just so we know where the side of the face is, right? Because the head is not completely round. If we're looking at it from the top, it's a little bit more like so, where the sides are a little straighter. And so you want to have guidelines to gauge that. Obviously, all these lines just to help you in your learning phase. As you grow, you're going to be doing less of this stuff, less and less and less. In fact, in some cases, none at all. Like I said, a little bit of the top like we did before. Pulling it down, similar to, again, following the box as a guide. Halfway through this circle here, the sphere, you then form the rest of the jaw. Pretty much, right? And the jaw right there, I'm doing the rest of that. And the neck could be doing whatever you want. It could have been straight down. It could have been doing all that kind of stuff. Now I'm just going to erase a little bit so we see our lines a little better. So now we can just form that head. We know an eye is going to be here. Now there are ways to actually place the eye. This is more of getting at least your positioning to a decent level. because it's good to understand the head at this level before you kind of graduate and maybe do some studies and references, because that way when you're doing those references you kind of know what to look for a little bit. So the eye will be here, the other eye will be here, but then if we put the nose, you can see how the nose, depending on the facial structure of the figure, the nose might block the other eye. So it's just little things like that you're learning from doing stuff like this, right? And how the box kind of helps you with perspective and foreshortening and things like that. If we did a more dynamic approach to the box, I don't usually do this box technique, but I've seen many people do it because it helps people in some cases understand structures and so on. Do your circle that's not necessarily in the middle of the box, a little bit in the middle, but then raised a bit, right, to leave room for the jaw. Then you have this line that goes across. Again, there are lots of things that we're missing, but we'll get there. And then for the side of the head right there, and then we draw. When we split that in half, then you're forming the jaw. Still keeping this box head in mind. Then you have the line that goes across again, so okay, one eye here, one eye around here somewhere. The nose kind of does something like that, and then the nose will kind of pop out of the box in a way, but you don't even need to focus on that too much. Again, these are things that maybe you will understand a whole lot better once you start to break down references and things like that. The ear will be around here, the one further away from the face area from where the character is facing. Then you figure out the neck. Obviously, from this angle, the neck will kind of be blocked a little bit, so there'll be some shading. So this is just helping your positioning. Again, the head will be maybe raised a little bit from our initial circle, and then ears. But we're just getting positionings of things. But there's a lot going on in the human face, and that's why once you kind of understand what's going on here to a decent degree, you can then graduate and do more reference stuff. Reference is always going to help regardless, but once you kind of understand what to look for while using the reference, it always helps to be informed to at least a decent degree regarding the anatomy of what you're referencing before you actually go into the reference. It actually helps you reference it better, study it better, all of that. And so I see this square technique, this cube, this box being used a lot. I'll be honest, when I started, it wasn't something I did, like I didn't use it to learn, but I can see how it easily helps set things up for you to understand how the head is positioned, right? There's still a lot of stuff that we're missing here, like maybe the cheeks might pop out a whole lot more. The eye is not just going to be parallel just like that. There's stuff happening. And those are maybe the things that you would notice once you start to use references. If there were eyebrows, the eyebrows might actually block part of the top of the eye and things like that. So those are things you learn with time, with references, different body types, different facial structures, all of that. But at least for the positioning of things, this is a great way to do things. If we do one here, but let's say the head is facing this way, if you were drawing the torso, maybe that might be blocked with a different box. So there's a lot of foreshortening happening. And here it also helps with keeping the boxes in line with one vanishing point, making sure the perspective is actually accurate. So if we did like the box thing for, say, the torso of this character, it all kind of needs to line up, right? So it's not just thinking of the character as a mannequin, but thinking of them as like box mannequin, Minecraft. But here you have the face, and it's obviously in this angle much more difficult, right? You know that I want eye here, one eye here. The nose will pop out, but then here we're going to see more nostril, and the mouth area is going to be somewhere here, right? And these are all things you build on, but then you still need to understand how they all interact with each other, how all those facial structures interact with each other, how, yes, the eye's here, the eye's here, but are we going to get to see it? Those are the things that you're then looking for in your studies. Take what we've just done here, and the nose, like we can see, will pop there. But now the eyes are not just going to be straight like that. They have, the way they wrap around the head is interesting. And that's something you can reference. And then the mouth, we'll see a lot more of the upper lip. And then the ear, like we said, will come out here. So we know the ear is going to be somewhere there. Have the jaw. Maybe some shading, depending on the light source. Right? And there you have it. And then maybe have some eyebrows. So we don't even get to see too much of the forehead. We don't get to see too much of the top of the head. And this is without features. You know, you then add hair or whatever is going on with this character's features, how the eyes are going to operate, all these things, right? Once you understand how to draw the head to this degree, at least understanding how things are positioned, right? Maybe chest over here. It's going to block some of the neck, right? So once you understand things to this degree, right, even if just a little bit, you can then carry over to using reference and being more effective when you're using it and studying heads and studying different angles and so on. So I'm going to take that approach, use some references so you guys see how I'm kind of using those basic principles and techniques to apply them with these head studies using references. Without being able to draw, you know where eyes go, noses and mouths and all of that. That always informs the way you do things. But now adding on this very structural, principled drawing approach to understanding where those things go, it helps your drawing overall. It helps your eyes spot things with the reference and helps you understand how things go. It helps your memory. So when you have to draw it without the help, you're not lost. Even though I know the ear is covered, I know the ear is there somewhere. So I'm just putting it there as it might help me figure out where other things go. On the nose, it's like here. I'm also looking back and forth with the drawing too. Here with the studies, you know, one of the things that I'm keeping in mind as well is, you know, what parts are being shaded. And sometimes that's different for different ethnicities. I'm not trying to be too accurate, but just enough so you guys get the point. You guys usually hear me when I say to think in layers, and this is another way. I also do this when I'm making my manga sometimes, where you kind of break everything into simple shapes before going into detail afterwards. So here, while looking at the reference and studying it, I'm breaking the reference into simple shapes and then going in. So thanks for watching, guys. I think for the next video, I'll kind of do the same thing, do more face studies, but maybe this time without the guidelines. There are many ways to learn how to draw, so I'm just trying to show you guys multiple ways to do it. You guys find what works best for you. I'm going to be doing more sketch-based videos, and they'll be added to the playlist where I do how to draw for beginners. You guys go check out that playlist after this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next video where we're sketching and doing more tutorials. I'm going to be doing more foreshortening, how to draw a body, the list goes on. Leave comments on ideas for tutorials that you want to see, and maybe I can sneak them in there. They'll all be added to this playlist, so you guys can go click that and watch the videos there. As you know, with Saturday AM, we have like a host of books that we're coming out with, and I've been talking about them nonstop. Also coming out with a how to draw book, and this is just a test of how it would be, and it'll have a host of other artists contributing to it, so I highly recommend you guys go pre-order that. Links in the description. But again, go check out that playlist, subscribe so you don't miss the video, like this video. I've always wanted to come back to the simplicity of these kinds of videos, so stay tuned. It's White Manga, and I'm out.